Welcome everyone to another episode of Views from Bridge. The Bridge Committee of the Greater Hartford Association of Realtors is the committee that fights for justice and racial equity in the real estate industry. One of our many goals is to be a voice for the underrepresented members in our community. Today, we are so honored to speak with Cheryl Hilton, founder of the Bridge Committee, a successful realtor in her own right, a national leader in the social justice movement, and best of all to me, Cheryl is one of my best friends. Yay!
I was invited to go to the strategic planning session, which was completely out of the blue because I was not in any way, shape, or form involved with the association. I'd been a realtor for probably, I don't know, at that point, 7 years. And honestly, I was like, something's missing here. It's just missing. Something's wrong. So I got invited to the strategic planning session and I said a few things, knowing me, right?
Of course.
That, they were making plans, but they weren't really listening or taking into account other people's voices. So I made a little statement. A then director came to me and said, a few of us were talking and we would like you to create something. So I was like, oh, let me think about it. So I thought about it. I discussed it with my dad, who was instrumental in all of, everything I did until his
Great
passing.
man.
And then I pulled in you and Leslie and Leslie Hammond and Peter Krasnowski, pulled you guys in. I said, guys, I have a crazy idea. What do you think? Let's go with it. But it was very intentional the way that I created it. So I wanted voices of color. I wanted someone a little bit older than we were. And I wanted a first generation, some person from an Eastern European bloc. So that's what I really wanted to do. And here we are today. What is it? 7, 8 years later?
So we serve on the CTR Accountability Task Force together, but one of our initiatives was to come up with a mandatory racial bias real estate class or course. You actually helped write that course.
Yes.
And now you're actually one of the teachers, which is just also amazing. So tell us what that experience has been like for you.
Well, it was funny when they first came to me with just like an outline rough draft. I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, we need to make some changes here. So I'm like, all right, well, this is what I think, and blah, blah, blah. And I just kind of knocked it out and they loved it. So that worked out really well. And the most rewarding part of it was, yes, getting the publishing credit, right? Because I worked on it, but really teaching the class to so many different associations and to so many different groups. For those who are not familiar with me, I like to say, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just here to plant seeds, right?
Yep.
So
Excellent.
every time I teach the class, I have a couple of people who really are rooted in their own, they're in their own way, right? They get in their own bias. And my class is a very safe space. And I tell people, hey, listen, I'm here to share with you the facts. That's it. There is no judgment here. I am here to give you information. So it's really nice because so far with all the classes I taught, all of them who were very vocal in the beginning, they come to me at the end of the class. Sometimes they'll call, sometimes they'll text, sometimes they'll, put it in the chat and say, thank you. I didn't know that. I didn't know. I didn't understand. Thank you. And that's really rewarding. That's kind of cool.
So really, it appears that you have made DEI work and social justice a true mission for your life. Tell us about some of the other work you do in this field.
Oh gosh, I do so much.
I know you
I
do.
lead a lot of campaigns in the town that I live in around equity in the school system. When I was a commissioner for the housing authority in the town that I live in, that was really forefront. So I'm like, hey, we need to make some changes here. And they need to be structural and they need to be, contractual as well. Like, because what's happening is unintended. So let's get it clarified. Let's put some stuff around it. Most recently, there was a mural that was brought to my attention, a mural project, which we were able to, me and a merry group of women, we were able to get it up and on the wall in the town that I live in. So that was pretty exciting. But there's been a lot. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. But more specifically to GHAR, the Bridge Committee, we have really forced them to take a look at their policies and how they've been doing business. And we really have forced the issue of equity in voices and in representation. So that's something I'm really proud of. Now, I know it was not always easy. I know there was many times I wanted to give up.
Yes.
Because many people through the years have been very resistant, but I'm stubborn. But I'm really happy to say that I can really see progress. And I think that's
Me too.
wonderful.
Me
I think
too.
it's wonderful. And I'm very proud of the group in its current iteration for being brave enough and open enough to really start to take in some of the changes and some of the recommendations that were made through the hiring of a DEI consultant.
Just seeing some of your experiences and me, myself, having my own experiences working with GHAR, Greater Hartford Association of Realtors, as well as CTR, otherwise known as Connecticut Realtors Association. We've done some great things, but we've come across a lot of resistance. And you more so than me, because you tend to be more on the forefront out there. What is your motivation to continue this type of work when we do come up with so many forms of resistance?
I don't know, because it would be so much easier to just walk away, right? And to say, you know what, I did my best, I'm out. That would be the easy way, but I've never taken the easy way. So I don't know if I have a crazy sense of optimism, or if I'm just stubborn, or if it's a combination of both. But I really think that I think both organizations have the ability to be great and amazing for all people.
And we do have the potential to be great. But I also feel, and I know I've had these conversations with you, it's a tremendous responsibility for us to really make a way for people who look like us, or people who are part-time, people who don't belong to the same communities that we belong to, cultural differences. So it's a tremendous responsibility, and I take it very, highly. And most of it's because of my work with you. So again, I'm just so grateful.
Like it is. It's a very, sometimes it's very heavy. Now, I will say, I willingly put myself in this position, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I had no idea, because if I did, I'm not sure if I would have done it, right? I'm not really sure if but once I was in it, I'm like, see it through.
Yes, we do. We have a lot of fun. And one of the other things I wanted to mention, you said it was very heavy, and it is, but you know what? You, as well as I do, we have a great support system, and I know you do. We have people around us when we feel like giving up. They're like, no, keep it going. And you and I have been that person for each other as well.
For many years, for my entire 15, 16-year career. So I'm so very thankful for you.
Oh God, I'm thankful for you, girl. But anyway, we digress, but it will come back. So huge, huge congratulations on your Realtor of the Year award for the Greater Hartford Association of Realtors.
Thank you.
And is so deserving.
Thank you.
So, but I cannot remember the last time the Greater Hartford Association of Realtors has chosen a Black or brown person to win or realtor to win. What has this been like for you?
And I'm like, wow, oh, okay, thank you. So once I got over the initial shock, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure out what it means. You know, it's of course an honor, of course, but what else does it mean? And what can it mean? You know, is this something that could be, you know, used to further the course of DEI? Is this something
Absolutely.
that, you know, I should be using personally? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you, again, paving the way for other people who look like us. So, Cheryl,
Yes.
a lot of realtors, I'm sure, ask you this. A lot of people ask you this. What can they do to help further the cause or the DEI initiatives? And we'll keep it to real estate. What can other realtors do basically to make sure that we don't go backwards and we continue to move forward in some of these initiatives surrounded around diversity, inclusion, and equity?
I think one of the most important things is to be aware of your speech, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your thought process, right? And then be mindful,
Right.
right? Be aware and be mindful. So no one's asking you to believe anything, but we're asking you to treat people with respect and
Right.
and all people with respect. And then when you make a mistake, because we all make mistakes, every single one of us, I make 30 a day easily. But when it comes to conversations around race, if you have a question, ask the question, right? And if you step in it, then apologize. You know, if someone's like, I teach in my class, if someone says to you, so what do you mean by that? That's kind of a warning, right? Like, hey, I want to make sure that I heard you
Right.
before I have a reaction. So let me give you the opportunity to clarify your intent, because the impact was not cool, you know? So just, you know, or if you're on the receiving end, ask the person, so what do you mean by that? So
Right.
that you don't automatically, because of our life experiences, we're going to have an automatic reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's everyone's responsibility to take a breath, take a pause, take a step back, ask a clarifying question. And my favorite is, so what do you mean by that? And it doesn't have to come off as confrontational, but you are asking a question and then let them answer.
Right.
And then ask it again if you need to. And then at that moment, make a decision on how you want to proceed. And sometimes proceeding means disengaging.
Right. Unfortunately. But
Yeah.
that makes a point too. That
Yeah.
makes a point too. And maybe people will think, on both sides. So yeah, I think the dialogue is what I'm hearing you say. The
Yeah.
dialogue is
Have the
important.
conversation, um,
Conversations.
ask the questions, and it's okay, because if you don't know, you don't know, right? And what do they say? When you know better, you do better.
Absolutely.
That's all of
Absolutely.
us. That's all of us.
Well, we have all done better just from our association with you.
Oh my
And
God, thank you.
yes, and we will end it on that note, just that you have made our industry and our community just so much better just from your work. So you got just always remember you have a lot of support behind you. And again, we have just been so honored to have you on Views from Bridge. And we hope to have you back, Cheryl. So
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being inspirational and motivational. We just appreciate you so much.
Thank you. The honor is mine. Thank you. I'm very proud of the Bridge Committee. what started off as a crazy idea has turned into a successful and self-sustaining group. And I am so
Yes.
proud of all of the work that all of the chairs who've come after me have done and continue to do and will continue to do. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is another episode of Views from Bridge. We'll see you next time.